Hey FPL managers, it's Josh here from FPL Hauly, back with another video. I scored 78 points in game week 16, which got me the smallest of green arrows at just a 1k rank rise, but I'm not complaining as that is now my 7th consecutive green arrow and I'm sitting at 38k overall rank. Today I'm breaking down my game week 16 score, 3 crucial lessons including why both City and Liverpool were lucky to keep clean sheets, the injuries that are playing havoc with my transfer plans, and my complete strategy for navigating the crucial Christmas period of game week 17 to 20. Let's dive in. So in game week 16, I scored 78 points and I got a small green arrow of 1k rise rank and I've climbed to 38k overall rank. I was actually in the exact same position as I was in game week 15. I was on a red arrow heading into Monday night and I was relying on Bruno Fernandes to save my game week. And once again, he absolutely delivered. 13 points on Monday night turned that red arrow into a small green arrow. Now, let me talk you through the transfers because this was a big week for transfers as we all had our 5 free AFCON transfers. I had to say goodbye to my beloved Daniel Munoz with a very heavy heart. Losing Munoz really hurt because he's been absolutely brilliant for me since my game week 4 wildcard and a big reason why I've had so many green arrows. But he's having surgery on his knee and he just would have missed too many games for me to hold him on my bench. I also sold Mateta. He looks exhausted. He got subbed off early again against City, and Palace's fixtures have turned for the worse. I also needed funds to upgrade Munoz to Timber, so Mateta made way for Raul at Fulham. Now for the highlights. 4 double-digit hauls this week. Bruno and Haaland both scoring me 13, Foden and my captain Salah with 11 each. For these 4 to all haul and me to barely get a rank rise just goes to show how heavily owned and captained all 4 of these guys are around my rank. I was genuinely nervous about not captaining Haaland, and when Saka looked like he was going to blank at halftime against Wolves, I was really sweating. But then those 2 very soft assists came in, and for Haaland to have got 2 goals himself, I was really fortunate for Saka to have only scored 2 points less than Haaland, but I will take those assists. The disappointments this week were my 2 transfers, so both Timber and Raul blanked. Double Arsenal defence against Wolves really should have been a clean sheet, and I was very surprised to see Arsenal struggle against Wolves at home and also concede. And it does make me wonder if going double Arsenal defence is still the right strategy when they're not keeping as many clean sheets as earlier in the season. And then Raul blanked in what turned out to be an absolute goalfest at Turf Moor. Fulham put 3 past Burnley and Raul didn't register a single shot in 79 minutes. If Raul keeps up that kind of form, he will only be a 2-week punt. But even with those blanks, I really can't complain. 78 points, another green arrow, and I'm sitting at 38k. How many points did you score in game week 16? Let me know in the comments below. 3 massive takeaways from game week 16 that are shaping how I'm thinking about the crucial Christmas period ahead. So first up, both City and Liverpool were lucky to keep clean sheets. And I mean really lucky. So Brighton generated 1.9 expected goals against Liverpool at Anfield. That's more XG than Liverpool created themselves. Brighton dominate the chances, but just couldn't find that clinical finish. And I was really surprised to see Welbeck come on so late in that match. Then Crystal Palace went and generated 2.1 expected goals. Again, more than City registered, even though they won 3-0. Jeremy of Palace had 1.1 expected goals on his own. But again, with a tired Mateta and Munoz out injured, there was just no one at Palace to finish these chances. The second thing I learned was Fulham and Burnley played out an absolute classic at Turf Moor. Harry Wilson registered the highest expected points of the entire game week. He got 8.19 expected points and he delivered 16 actual points. Wilson is absolutely on fire right now. And here's the interesting thing as well is Ogorchukwu of Burnley was next highest with 8 expected points. FPL gold if you own Harry Wilson and just pure frustration if you own Raul like me. Wilson is now firmly forcing his way into my thinking, and at just 5.6 million, he's an absolute bargain if this form continues. The challenge is Fulham's fixtures turn soon, but we'll talk about that more in my watch list section a little bit later on. And the third thing we learned was the injury carnage this game week has completely reshaped my transfer plans, and possibly yours too. 2 players on my immediate transfer radar went off injured, and that's Dewsbury-Hall of Everton, and he lasted just 15 minutes before being subbed with a hamstring injury. David Moyes said he had a bit of tightness already and then felt it during the game, and hamstrings are always really concerning. They could be potentially 4 to 6 weeks if it's a bad tear. Jack Grealish also got subbed late on that game with another hamstring issue, so that's one to watch. And then Dominic Szoboszlai of Liverpool was also withdrawn early, seemingly twisting his ankle. And Slot said it didn't look great, but ankle injuries are very difficult to assess immediately. You have to let the swelling go down and then have some scans. So that'll be one we need to monitor closely throughout the week. Ben White and Dan Burn also picked up injuries, and reports are that White could be out for a month and Dan Burn with a rib issue could be 4 to 6 weeks. So they're also ones to wait for the press conferences on Friday. Right, let's talk about what's coming up this week, because the fixture calendar is absolutely packed. We've got Carabao Cup quarterfinals on Tuesday and Wednesday. Cardiff City play Chelsea on Tuesday. Then Wednesday brings us all Premier League ties, Man City against Brentford and Newcastle against Fulham. The Champions League and Europa League are now done until January 2026, so that's one less thing to worry about in terms of midweek rotation for the big European clubs. But here's where Palace managers need to pay attention. Thursday, the 18th of December, Crystal Palace play Cups in the Europa Conference League. So if you're wondering, that's the Finnish champions. And here's the really concerning stat for Palace. Palace have to play 8 games in just 23 days between this Europa Conference League tie and their FA Cup third round match against Macclesfield on January the 10th. Palace really need to add depth to that squad in the January transfer window. As I've already said, they've got injuries to key players. Mateta looks exhausted. They need to bolster that squad if they're to be in multiple competitions this season. So my advice to FPL managers like you remains the same. Hold your transfers until after Friday's press conference if you can. Let all these midweek cup fixtures play out. And I'll be doing a Game Week 17 deadline stream on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. UK time. That's 1 hour before the deadline. Come and join me to get all your deadline questions answered. I read and respond to every comment during these streams, so bring your transfer dilemmas and I'll help you through them. My updated player watch list, and honestly, it hasn't changed dramatically from last week because I'm fairly happy with my team structure right now. But there's a big set of fixture swings happening from Game Week 18 onwards, and that's where my focus is shifting. So the players I like from Game Week 18 onwards are highlighted in orange on your screen. Let me walk you through my thinking position by position. So starting with goalkeepers. I really like Pickford because Everton's fixture run from Game Week 18 is really nice. If you want that budget rotation option, I still do like Verbruggen at Brighton, paired with Dubravka of Burnley. They rotate really nicely for the next few game weeks. As for defenders, sticking with Everton assets are also where I'm looking. Everton seem really solid defensively right now. And again, those fixtures from 18 are too good to ignore. So you can look at Keane as your budget 4.6 option. Or if you want the DEFCON monster at a more premium price, Tarkowski at 5.5 million is your man. I also really like Brentford's fixtures too over the next 3 to 4. So Van den Berg at 4.5 million remains a really nice enabler. As for midfielders, in terms of form, I absolutely love Morgan Rogers at Aston Villa. He delivered another double-digit haul in Game Week 16. But the problem is that Villa actually have one of the worst fixture runs coming up. And at 7 million, a move from Rogers would be very hard to justify despite his brilliant form. Now, the two midfielders I was planning on targeting were Keenan Dewsbury-Hall and Dominic Szoboszlai. But as I just discussed, they both went off injured this game week, which was really put a spanner in my plans. Dewsbury-Hall is still at just 5.1 million and he's incredible value. Szoboszlai offers that Liverpool midfield coverage I want from Game Week 18 because they play Wolves and Leeds in Game Week 18 and 19. And I obviously can't talk about midfielders without mentioning the man of the moment, Harry Wilson. And honestly, if Wilson keeps up this form, he'll probably force his way into my team very soon. Again, the challenge is that Fulham's nice fixture run ends really soon. So from Game Week 19, Fulham play Palace, Liverpool and Chelsea. And that's Game Weeks 19 to 21. So that's a really tough stretch. And Wilson might have cooled off with his form by then, so which makes that timing tricky. But I am tempted on a short-term punt. I'll talk more about that later. Finally, in terms of forwards, Jarrod Bowen has been added to my watch list. He wouldn't normally be someone I'd consider, but here's why he's interesting now. West Ham's fixture run from Game Week 18 is really nice and it actually runs all the way through into kind of the mid-20s. And that's what I really love about Bowen is he's a 90-minute man during this very congested Christmas period. West Ham don't have any European commitments. They're already out of the Carabao Cup. So Bowen will not only be a nailed starter, but he'll be as close to 90 minutes as you can get during this festive period. From Game Week 18 onwards, I need to decide tactically whether I want to stick with 3 strikers, keep Haaland and Thiago and upgrade Raul to Bowen and keep playing a 3-4-3 formation, or I could downgrade Raul to GUI at Chelsea, put him on my bench, and then upgrade Josh King in midfield to play a 3-5-2. What do you think? 3 strikers or move to 2 and then strengthen the midfield? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now let me walk you through my plans for the next 4 crucial game weeks, because this is where the Christmas fixture congestion really separates the engaged managers from the casual ones. Starting with captaincy. 2 of these decisions are absolute no-brainers. So game week 17, which is the next game week coming up, Haaland at home to West Ham is an easy captaincy choice. Don't overthink it, put the armband on him and forget about it. Game week 19, Bruno Fernandes at home to Wolves. Particularly with both City and Arsenal having tough fixtures in game week 19, I expect Bruno to deliver another double-digit haul against Wolves. An outside captaincy shout that week could be a Liverpool player at home to Leeds, but I don't currently own any Liverpool players, and I'm going to be backing Bruno to go big again against Wolves at home. So that's 17 and 19 sorted. But game weeks 18 and 20 are much trickier to call. Game week 18, Liverpool have the best fixture on paper at home to Wolves, but I currently don't own any Liverpool assets. And the one I have my eye on, Szoboszlai, is now injured. Game week 20 is even more difficult because there isn't a single standout fixture. On paper, Spurs at home to Sunderland looks like the best option, but I don't want or own or plan to own any Spurs players given their current form. So in game week 20, I could just play it safe and back Haaland at home to Chelsea. Sometimes boring is best. Now for transfers. I will most likely roll this week. My team looks good for game week 17, but there is one cheeky option I'm considering. I could bring in Harry Wilson this week for 1 to 2 game weeks of fun before moving him on. It's not the sensible play, but it is the exciting one. And if I do roll, that will bring me up to 5 free transfers. And this is where I need to have a proper strategic think about my team structure moving forward. Option 1, persist with 3 strikers. I could make a sideways move, Raul to Bowen, and then downgrade Minter to Dewsbury-Hall to take advantage of Everton's really nice fixture run from game week 18. It's a fairly straightforward restructure that maintains my 3-4-3 shape. Option 2, move to 2 strikers. I could move Raul all the way down to GUI at Chelsea and park him on my bench. I could then upgrade Josh King to either Szoboszlai or even a bigger hitter midfielder like Cunha. I could also still do Minte to Dewsbury-Hall in this scenario. And that scenario would actually give me about 2 million in the bank if I also wanted to upgrade part of my defence later. So actually moving to a 3-5-2 structure could benefit my entire team. So basically right now it's a straight shootout between 2 combinations, Bowen and Dewsbury-Hall or Cunha and Szoboszlai. And obviously there are injury concerns with both Dewsbury-Hall and Szoboszlai as I'm recording, but which combination would you pick if you had to? Let me know in the comments. Alrighty, game week 17 setup. So before making any transfers this week, I have 1.1 million in the bank and 4 free transfers. And when I look at my team like this, I genuinely really like it. The problem with bringing Harry Wilson in for a 1-week punt is that I was specifically holding Minte for Brighton's fixture at Sunderland this game week. So it seems a bit wasteful to sell him right before the fixture I've been holding him for. But at the same time, I need points on the board, and Harry Wilson is in just red hot form, and he would be a really exciting roll of the dice. I'm really delighted to have Triple City for the home match against West Ham. As I say, Haaland is an easy captain pick. I'm not going to overthink that. And then to have O'Reilly and Foden playing and scoring is great. I must be pretty pleased with my overall team structure if my only real issue this week is my 3rd defender benching headache. So my question is, do I start Rodon at home to a misfiring Crystal Palace, or Chow at home to Chelsea, or Richards away at Leeds? Now, Richards away at Leeds is probably the worst of the 3 fixtures on paper. Leeds have been decent at home, and Calvert-Lewin is in red hot form right now. Palace haven't looked great recently, particularly in an attacking sense, as I've already mentioned. So Rodon at home to Palace could be a great shout for a clean sheet and maybe DEFCON. And then Chow against Chelsea is interesting too. Newcastle at home have been solid, but Palmer is back for Chelsea. Now, any of these 3 could return. I feel like I could flip a coin or roll a dice and pick any of the 3, and that makes this benching decision really difficult. Who would you start out of these 3? Rodon, Chow, or Richards? Let me know in the comments. So there we have it, game week 16 reviewed and my 78-point haul and 7th consecutive green arrow, taking me to 38k overall rank. Injuries are happening, fixture swings are all over the place, and the Christmas period is about to get crazy. My strategy remains the same: stay patient, bank the free transfers, and trust the process over panic. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to FPL Hauly because I make videos like this every week. Clear FPL strategy and no panic. Join me for my deadline stream on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. UK time. That's 1 hour before the Game Week 17 deadline. But until then, best of luck in Game Week 17.